So we've got this new recording method, which I hope it suits you right because this is what we're going to be using while I'm on the run now. And it also gives you the opportunity to check out the absolutely deliciously vanilla artwork. I believe we have a scene from Venice over there, which makes sense because I'm in Liverpool and there is also water. And we've got a shot of what I believe is the Liverpool skyline over there, directly above my bed, so I can look longingly at that, because you can bet your ass it's not out my window, which is perfectly fine. You know, I don't necessarily like nice views. I'm somebody from New York, and I like staring at brick walls out my window. So, yeah, pretty typical good stuff. We also have nice warm comfort colors. This background has a good texture to it. Sorry, this isn't what you tuned into. I am here in Liverpool, not for my own pleasure, even though I kind of would be. I kind of like Liverpool, I'm going to be honest. The main editor of the Zealand channel lives here, so we get to hang out when I show up here. And the hotel rooms make me look like I have two personalities, the angel on my shoulder or the beige green. Don't even know what that signifies. But the Football Manager World Cup is also here. Now, I don't know if you've heard of the Football Manager World Cup. A lot of you apparently haven't, which is why I'm making this video. Because by the time you are watching this video, the draw has occurred, which means the 20 teams at the Football Manager World Cup, the inaugural Football Manager World Cup, hosted by literally FIFA. So this is a huge fucking deal with an incredibly high production value that somehow I've ended up mixed up in. The 20 teams representing 19 countries will all understand what their challenge is going to be. And that is really exciting for me because I'm here to stream the entire thing, which means if you tune into Twitch, you'd be able to watch those streams starting tomorrow, actually. And for 3 straight days starting tomorrow, each one of these 20 teams from 19 countries will be managing a club for 1 season. And then the next day they manage them for another season. And then the next day they manage them for a 3rd season. It is, in my opinion, the best competitive football manager format that anyone has ever come up with. When FIFA first shared with me the competitive format that they had cooked up with, or they had cooked up, I thought it was amazing. You see, the draw that happened earlier today that you missed because you weren't paying attention, so shame, how dare you, put all 20 teams in 4 different groups of 5. And each group is going to be given 1 club. Okay? Now, those clubs, technically by the time you watch this, they will be public information. So I feel like I can just tell you, are Brighton, Yokohama I think just Yokohama, Sporting, and Dinamo. I believe Dinamo Zagreb. So there's 4 very different clubs. Now, if you end up in one of those 4 groups, you manage one of those clubs. And your goal is to finish as high in the league as possible and advance as far in all of the cups as possible. Now, that is really interesting. First of all, because if you're Dinamo Zagreb, you're probably going to win the league every year, which means who gets the most points in that group is likely going to be determined by who gets the farthest in the Champions League, which is a very different challenge than Brighton, where, there's going to be a wide variety of where people finish in that first season with Brighton. I'm sure somebody's going to crush it, but it's also possible that if you have a couple of injuries or you make a deep cup run and that ends up kneecapping your ability to rest players, that a Brighton team could finish 9th or 10th, even at the Football Manager World Cup. I know. Stunning developments there. At Yokohama, if you're playing in Japan, right, you have a giant homegrown player limit. Right, but I mean, you can only have a couple of foreign players, which means you're basically just dealing in the Japanese national player pool, which means a lot of the same teams in that group probably going to be signing a lot of the same players. And then if you're at Sporting, I feel like that's the most traditional football manager experience. You could win the league first season, right? Somebody may be able to win the league first season at Brighton. Yokohama, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I have no idea if they're a favored team or not, right, in the Japanese league, as much as my ball knowledge runs, in some areas an inch deep and in some areas 3 miles deep, and you feel like the Japanese league might be somewhere where it's 3 miles deep. It's actually just an inch deep, and I have no idea if Yokohama's good or not. But the variety of challenges are amazing. And you will manage, not against the other teams, because everybody's managing the same team in each group. You will manage that team for 3 seasons. And I will be streaming, of course, a watch-along to all of this. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I think this tournament is going to be awesome. Okay, I've already been here for 2 days. Right, I've been shown the set. I've met a lot of the national teams. A lot of the representatives, and there's a huge cross section, by the way, of the English representatives being big streamers, right, in RDF Tactics and Work the Space, big YouTubers, right. Their assistants are Tom FM and Second Yellow Card. Now all of these people make Football Manager content full time. And then I also spent a lot of time with the Norwegian team, where one is an actual football coach and the other one won the inaugural Football Manager tournament back in 2017, and he's kind of dusting that knowledge off, but they've never streamed before. Right, and now all of a sudden they're under the bright lights, and I mean the bright lights of this tournament. Right, the oldest competitor is 41, the youngest competitor is 18. Okay, and the stage for this tournament is amazing. When I was given the tour, and this is probably the number one reason I'm making this video, is because I'm so freaking excited. I can't believe the amount of investment that's going into this Football Manager tournament. Like, not only is the group stage awesome, but the amount of investment in this tournament is insane. When I got my tour of the actual event, I walk in, and there are like 200, 100 at least, roadies in high-vis jackets building multiple, like, full sound stages inside of this giant warehouse to host this event. The first sound stage where the group stage is going to take place is unbelievable. It's sectioned into 4 different rooms for each of the 4 groups. I mean, it looks like a fully professional, full-blown, top-of-the-line sporting event stage. And I'm somebody that is not easily impressed by this stuff. If you don't know, I worked in TV. I worked as a sports broadcaster for a long time. I've been in TV studios. I've been in TV sets. When I tell you that this production is better than basically any TV studio I've ever seen, been inside of, toured, is somebody that was potentially going to work in one place, right? Like, this is absolutely fucking top of the line. There are probably 1,000 people here that were brought here specifically to put on this tournament. Administrators from FIFA, administrators from FIFA E, all sorts of producers and directors and cameramen and all of these people that are working to screw all the nuts and bolts together to put together this amazing event. We're all getting catered all 3 days. I mean, this is somebody looking at Football Manager for the first time and going, we're going to give this a legitimate shot to be the big show, to be that big main attraction. And the truth is, I have no idea how it's going to go, right? Because you might be wondering, 19 nations, 20 teams. The host nation, England, got a second team. That's why there's 2 English teams. But these teams are from all over the world. Malaysia, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Peru, South Africa. These guys are from all over. And they're all here, and they qualified in different ways, right? Certain FAs, whether Peru, Netherlands, they held kind of open tryouts to be the person that went to this. England selected their representatives because they wanted somebody that could handle the spotlight, which I would have said was stupid, but now that I've been here and seen the size of that spotlight, and the amount of attention and a fully professional broadcast crew, complete with a professional sideline reporter. Spin FC is the main studio host who's been hosting EAFC tournaments for like 8 to 10 years. 4 different experts to follow each group, including Lelujo and Dr. Benji, 2 of the biggest Football Manager YouTubers on the planet, right? Like a complete coverage, with the lights, camera, action, and scores of people that are all here to present a stage for you to play on. It makes a lot of sense that England would want to select people that are used to that, or at least more used to it, because to be perfectly honest, nobody here has ever experienced playing in something like this before. And if it wasn't obvious, I'm not playing, right? I am here to stream a watch along of the event that hopefully you can catch. I'm going to be on the exact same floor as all the people competing. I will have access to every single one of their streams and the live stats as it goes along. And we are going to try to keep track of what's happening. Obviously, we're going to probably start figuring that out more by day 2 or day 3. I'm also going to make some fun short content. I'm going to take this little camera I have around, and we're going to, video people. What's your favorite tactic? How'd you get into football? That is something that I want to do. But the train is getting off the tracks here, because the cross-section of all of these people, and the way they qualified, whether they were selected by their FA or their FA held some limited qualifying, which a lot of FAs did. They invited, I heard stories of, everybody that runs the Football Manager website in this language got invited, and then they just had a qualifying out of those guys, right? It is the inaugural tournament. This is Uruguay in 1930, okay? And it is the first one, and let me tell you, when, FIFA E, the FIFA apparatus here, they've spared no expense. Absolutely no expense in making this as cool as it can be. And all of the people I've interacted with have been absolutely fabulous and are, whether it be Spin or anybody else, passionate about Football Manager and happy, that this is underway and happening. And it's just going to be really cool. This entire Zealandism video is just because I needed to sit down and talk about how fucking cool this is going to be. From the fact that the competition is awesome, right, to the fact that, the mix of the teams are awesome. But really, what just hit home for me the most is the first time I felt like Football Manager had this main stage. Football Manager is getting the attention that as somebody that has played it obsessively for a really long time, I've always believed that it deserved. But when I walked in to get the credential, and an entire Turkish delegation in full Turkish getup, right? Like it was the fucking Olympics. Right, you had the main manager, and then you had the assistant manager, and then like coaches, and I would assume just people from the Turkish FA, all walking around to get their badge and everything else. That was when it hit me finally. This was a real deal, and it was going to be that serious, and it's going to be that cool. And when I walk into that building tomorrow, and I see everybody in their uniforms, right, representing their FA in a Football Manager tournament to figure out what nation's the best at Football Manager in the entire world, is broken or weird as the system might have been to get these guys here. It's going to be one of the coolest days of my life. Hope you guys are able to join me on stream because I do think it's going to be awesome, but I am just legitimately blown away by the level of professionalism and the level of coolness that is going on here. And I'm not just talking about the rain and the wind. Even though that is present, don't worry, it was cold and rainy today in August in Liverpool. But the tournament, it's just going to be great. I can't wait. And if you have no idea what Football Manager is, surprise, I play it a little bit, and that's why I'm here as a pundit for it. Okay, cool. I have to go to sleep. My casting, it's not casting call. I can technically show up whenever I want, but I should be there in 7 hours, so I gotta go.